And I went to this tour after my senior year. And if I'm thinking about who from high school I kept in touch with, it was the people from the AMA tour anyway. And yeah, I do think they're lifelong friends.
What was it like traveling on the Freedom Tour?
I mean, it was really, really fun. I went into it. I was fortunate enough. I think 7 people from my high school went. So I did know people when I went on the tour, but I'm very lucky that I met so many friends that by the end of it, those 7 people were hardly the ones that I was spending the most time with. But it was really, really fun and really exciting. I met all these great people, and they're still my friends. Like I'm on the phone with my friends from the Freedom Tour frequently, and we were traveling around Europe, and we were all in the back of this bus together, and that was so fun. And then of course there were the actual places that we went. And that was so cool because if you had asked me to plan a tour of Europe, I never would have thought of what we actually did. And the tour that I planned of Europe would have been so lame, right? Because, I just the places we went were just, it was so off the beaten path. And the people who organized it did so well to just like stay away from the touristy spots. Like we did some of them, but those were by far the worst things that we did. Like we were off the beaten path. We were seeing these really cool, like small towns. We were going to countries that I would have never thought to visit. The one that comes to mind is Slovenia, because, who knew that was so beautiful, because I hardly knew that it existed in high school. So yeah.
What was your favorite town?
My favorite town?
Was there a favorite town that you spent any time in that really you'd love to go back?
Yeah. The two that come to mind first, Westendorf in Austria. You see, I see the look in your face. Everybody loves it. And it's one of those ones where it's like this tiny town in Austria that I've certainly never heard of, and I don't really think many of my friends had ever heard of. But man, it was just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, from what I understand, AMA tourists go there frequently, and the people there kind of know that were coming, so they were very excited to see us and hear our music. But even like being in that, it was like, I've never seen The Sound of Music, but it was certainly like right from a movie, and people kept singing The Hills Are Alive, and I still haven't seen that movie, but I certainly have to. But because it was just so gorgeous, and the being on that mountain and seeing just like this, it just beautiful. Like not something not something I've ever seen before in the States, and not something I've seen since. Right.
I'm kind of a celebrity in Westendorf because
you're a Westendorf celebrity.
Yeah, because after COVID, I brought everybody back to Westendorf, and almost every student that travels on AMA goes through Westendorf at some point.
Yeah.
So they recognize me, I guess. It's not, I walk into the general store and the guy offers me schnapps every time I walk in. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's actually, I spend about 3 to 4 weeks in Westendorf every summer.
Really?
So I see every group come through, and it's kind of fun for that.
That's awesome. Yeah. I have a fantasy for my life where I get old and retire and move to Westendorf.
There you go.
And like live there. The other one that was my favorite was Croatia.
Okay.
Just because of like the person I am. I love the sun. I love the water. Over the summers now, I'm a lifeguard and a camp counselor in Michigan, and I live on the water, and I love the sun. I love the beaches. And unfortunately, not fortunate that I'm in Potsdam, but it's unfortunate the weather here is so, for most of my time here, it's pretty overcast and snowy. But like, yeah, definitely Croatia was very much in my element, and that was just a really fun place to be too with my friends.
Do you have a favorite performance space or a spot that you performed in?
Favorite performance space?
Yeah, like
not like the location, not like the performance.
And then why was that
important? Oh yeah. The one that comes to mind was, I don't know like specifically where it was. It was the performance we did in Slovenia, and it was in the middle of like this like castle kind of venue. That was really cool. I mean, there were, I think they all were memorable in their own way. Like in Hungary, we performed in like upstairs, like on the top level of a grocery store, which was like it was entertaining enough to be like hauling all these instruments upstairs, and then the whole thing smelled like a grocery store, and that here we are, we're in orchestra, like that was cool. But I think my favorite was the castle in Slovenia, just because it was just like so, like it was really really pretty. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's called Murska Skoboda, and I was actually at your concert.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
I hope you
So
liked it.
I did. It was a great concert. It was a great space. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go on the glacier?
We did. Oh, you just unlocked a memory. That was beautiful. That was so fun. Yeah.
Right. Tell me about what you did on the glacier.
On the glacier. Oh my God. I don't, yeah, that's surreal because it's summer and it's really warm, and we spend like, even all the other time we spent last year was like so like warm and sunshiny, and then you go to the top of this mountain and it's a glacier that's just there for reasons that are beyond me, because I'm not a science person. But yeah, that was just really fun. I think we ended up having like a snowball fight up there, which
Cool.
when in Rome, I guess. But
Yep.
that would we I don't like we just spent a lot of time up there, like taking pictures, like hanging out with each other, like running around in the snow in July because we can. Yeah.
Yeah. You said you keep in touch with your friends that you met in Freedom.
Yeah.
Are they? You think they're lifelong friends?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my friends, some of them were like, I mentioned there were a few friends from high school, but they weren't people that were necessarily in my social circle in high school. And I went to this tour after my senior year. And if I'm thinking about who from high school I kept in touch with, it was the people from the AMA tour anyway. And yeah, I do think they're lifelong friends. Like I see actually I'm at my desk right now. I have photos of us hung up right there. Like I'm looking at them. I see Logan like every time I'm home. Like he's the person that I go, like I'm bored. I'm off of school, like let's go somewhere. I have a lot of friends. A couple of them go to school here now, which is really cool because I see them a lot. Even my friend Thomas, like I haven't seen him in the flesh since Christmas of 25. But I was on FaceTime with him maybe a couple nights ago, like talking, and he's told me things before, like, I'm gonna make you the best man at my wedding. I'm like, that's nice. Maybe like fine, maybe like graduate high school real
Right.
quick. And then tell me, but like still, like that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's right. You think the AMA tour matured you any differently than you were,
Mhm.
before you went and when you came back? Did you feel more mature?
Yeah, definitely. You could ask my friends and family. I'm what they call geographically challenged. And it's not like I don't know where things are. I don't know what things are. And especially in all of, like, it's definitely gotten better. And I think I can attribute that to the tour, because I very much like live in small town New York, and I've always wanted to get out and see things. And going on that tour, I think really sparked that for me. Just like understanding, like you live in your own little, you grow up in your own little world, in your own little culture, and you're really used to that. But then you leave that, you go overseas, and there are all sorts of people doing all sorts of things that are different from you. And yeah, that's just a really beautiful thing, kind of see in the flesh and understand, because you can read about it as much as you want, and that's amazing. But like actually going to these places and seeing how people live and what they eat and what they do, that's really enlightening, and that's really maturing. And I think like so important to at least like try to understand like people are different, and that is beautiful. And yeah, I think that tour really helped to mature me into like opening my mind and like knowing what things are.
Did you get to converse with anyone in Europe, a European? Was there anything that you learned from them or anything like that?
I mean, for the most part, they told us not to, for like safety reasons. But yeah, I think I like to think of on the plane actually, like the German like flight attendants were so funny. My friend Laura was watching The Lion King, and this like flight attendant walked by. He's like, "Ooh, The Lion King, very good." And like that's just like a funny moment. Like we talk about that like frequently, because I don't know why, but like that was funny. My friends ended on the flight ended up seated next to these German people, and they had a really nice time like talking to them. So like yeah, for the most part, we kind of stuck to our tour group to be
Right.
safe.
Sure.
But in those situations, like if we had like a tour guide somewhere, or we did end up talking to someone, it was really impactful. I was in Slovenia. I was in Ljubljana, and we found like this sandwich place, and the girl there didn't speak any English, and for some reason the group elected me to try to talk to her, which, maybe not the smartest move, but you know what? We did it. She made us a sandwich. Couldn't exactly tell you what was on it, but it was beautiful. It was delicious.
That's great. So while you were on tour, you went to a concentration camp. Did that change perspective on, the world around you, what happened in World War II or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is like learning about it in school or like reading about it on your own is powerful enough to consider like these things happened, like these people, like people can be like so awful, and these people suffered, and you can read about that, and that will be impactful, and you should. But being there was almost a completely different experience. Well, not almost completely, it was a completely different experience to even consider like the things that I'm reading on this sign right now in this building. Not only did they happen right where I'm standing, and it's so like like with every, not to sound like corny, but with every generation that goes by, like more and more is lost. And it's so important that like we do what we can to remember, to know, and like to like see warning signs to make sure like this kind of thing doesn't happen again, because the more I find out about it, the more awful it was, you know.
Sure.
Because yeah, and even just like being there and reading about it, it was very, very impactful. I think about it frequently. I had a friend who's who's Jewish, who was on the tour. He was in our group on that day, and he was like putting rocks on everything that he saw, and I didn't know what that meant. So I asked, and it's like, there's this idea of like putting flowers on graves and stuff that we do, but in Judaism they like to put rocks because rocks don't die, they're forever. And that's just like something I don't think I ever would have learned, and it's something that I think is absolutely like a beautiful idea, you know. And that friend has been like, I saw how he was transformed in that experience. He's so proud of his Jewish faith, and I'm not saying like he wasn't before, but after the tour, like he was like more confident and proud of who he was than before, and it was that specific day that sparked that change.
How'd you like the Tyrolean evening?
The Tyrolean evening. Wait, can you remind me what that is?
I was in Westendorf when those guys were dancing and playing music.
Yeah, I talked about that. I was, because I'm a camp counselor, and there's a training session, and this question comes up frequently, like, what do you do when you have a camper that like you want them to like participate so badly, but they're just like so like shy and insecure. And I remember that day frequently, because that was like what, like 2 weeks into the tour. Like I was really tired. I wanted to go home, and like I don't know what I ate that day. I can't lie. Like I remember, I don't know what it was, but I was like feeling kind of sick to my stomach, and this ridiculous thing was going on, and like I just like felt so bad, and like I forget his name, Mr. Hartman, I think, one of the chaperones, was like,
Yeah.
look, man, you can like sit here and like, because like I understand like you're feeling kind of sick, and you can sit here and no one will judge you, or you can go and dance with your friends and make memories. And I'm like, you know what, like hell yeah, like let's do it. That was like the one of the most awesome musical experiences I've seen. And I've been to some concerts that cost like some crazy ticket price to see some American super rock star, whatever. And, those are awesome too, but it kind of like doesn't match like the energy that these people had and like how much they loved what they were doing. And it wasn't like just entertaining. Like it was wildly entertaining, but it was just like awesome,
Great. That's great. Did the tour push you musically?
Did the tour push me musically? Like, I'm not gonna say like the repertoire we played was the hardest I've ever seen, because like no, it wasn't bad. There were certainly times where I was like, I play trumpet and my endurance is famously not good, so there were times where I was like, oh my god. Right. But there's more to music than like technical capability and virtuosity, and I think the tour really does push you to understand like the deeper connection as to like why do humans do music, because and I think that's like as a music student, that's a question that's like lost on us sometimes because we spend so much time on that technical virtuosity, but like seeing how these people in these countries who are strangers to you respond to the music you're making was a really affirming thing, because in what here you prepare your music for your concert, your parents come and they clap and then they leave and they hopefully not forget about it, but like, yeah, I kind of forget about it. But in Europe, it was like these people like wanted to hear you play and they loved to hear you play. And it made us as musicians and friends closer to each other. And it made us as musicians like more passionate about what we do and why it's important and why people keep doing it,
Yeah. Yeah. Were you surprised by the size of the audiences that came?
Yeah, I can't lie, I was, because like it's almost like unfathomable to think like where I grew up, like, hey, this orchestra's playing this nice music from like movies you've seen, and we're gonna play Stars and Stripes forever, and like you should come, and like the people who show up are your parents and the friends you talked into it, and yeah, it's really fun and it's great. But then in Europe, like you're just playing music and these absolute like strangers just compiling in and they're loving it. Like it was unexpected and it was really incredible. Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Would you travel on the AMA tour again if you could?
If I could, yeah. I mean, I'm a broke college student, so there's that. But if I had the means and the opportunity, I absolutely would. I mean, like financially, you're never going to be able to do that trip for that price anywhere. So it's kind of a steal. And yeah, being able to perform in all these countries is one thing. Being able to just like live in these countries for however small and like see them is another thing altogether. And, it's really hard to get out of the country or out of even your own headspace and where you live and like see something else. I mean, the States are so huge. A lot of people are like, Americans are so not well traveled. It's like, yeah, we kind of are. It's because our country is so massive, right?
Right.
But just like getting like overseas, seeing those things, it's incredible. And I would do it again if I could.
Had you traveled to Europe prior to coming on an AMA tour?
No,
Oh,
I
you
haven't.
hope-
I've only been to Canada.
Great. Cool. Why do you think other music students should go on the Freedom Tour?
Other music students. Yeah. I mean, stuff we've like already talked about. It's just a kind of musical experience that you can't get in America because it's not in America. It's really kind of wild. I mean, if you're a music student, you've probably experienced some of these awesome things that music does, like bringing people together, forming friendships, creating bonds, having these experiences, and that's great. AMA, it like takes that and it like really pushes it to what it can be. So I think anyone who loves music or even is like interested in traveling should go, because it just like builds on your musical experience. It builds you, grows you as a person. It just exposes you to all these awesome things that you maybe never would have considered otherwise.
Yep.
And yeah, also it's just really fun. And not to mention the food, hello, is so good. Like I ate some things that if Like you asked me as when I was like 14, like, would you eat this? I'd be like, hell no, that's disgusting. But I ate them and it was amazing. And, it's just like a really beautiful experience. I went back to the States and I went to Wendy's and I never wanted to eat at a Wendy's ever again because that was disgusting. Because, it's like a whole nother world. And I really would hope that
Yeah.
everyone could experience it.
Yeah, you've experienced food you probably and ate food you maybe if your mom made it you wouldn't eat it, but
Right.
it was all you got, so you got it. Yeah. No. Well, I don't have anything else to ask you. In maybe one word, how would you describe AMA?
One word?
Or 5. How's that? 5.
One word? Ooh. Amazing. No, don't put that in the video. It's a really good question. I don't do well with one word. I don't know if you could tell.
You can use a short sentence. How's that?
A short sentence?
Use the
Okay.
word. I have to say American music abroad, and then whatever those 5 words
Okay.
are.
Okay. I see the vision. I got you. I would say. Wait, let me think about how I'm gonna finish that statement before I make it. Sure.
No pressure, man. No pressure.
I swear to. No, I would say that American music abroad is it. I would say that American music abroad just kind of just builds perspective on everything from culture to the human like interaction, people and music. It'll just take that and grow it to its limits and expose you to things you could never otherwise consider.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay.